What's up, gamers, and welcome back for more WotC-20. Today's matchup is Desert Moon versus Energy Connect Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh is Neo Revelation Ho-Oh with a bunch of different weakness griefing type Pokemon. And then the Desert Moon deck is Aquapolis Umbreon paired with Skyridge Crobat. Skyridge Crobat being the primary attacker in the deck, although Umbreon can also be the primary attacker depending on the matchup. So opening actives will be Zubat versus Slowpoke. And it looks like turn 1 is going to go to Ho-Oh's side, based on the draw. If you are not familiar with either of these decks, we'll walk through it. You can see Blackstar Promo Eevee on the bench is sitting there with Chain Reaction as its ability, waiting to evolve as soon as there's an evolution. Turn 1 attach will be a DCE onto a Slowpoke, and that is an E-Reader Slowpoke from Aquapolis, with the Ho-Oh, the main attacker of the Ho-Oh deck, on the bench as well. That Ho-Oh is now getting gusted up by Crobat's side. And Slowpoke looks like it did 20 damage with a bite there to the Zubat. I missed the counter there. And then we have a Professor Elm. Nice best printing of it with the reverse hollow pattern. And that will shuffle the hand into the deck. Draw a fresh 7, but no more trainer cards can be played this turn. So a defensive gust. The deck gets cut here. We'll see what fresh 7 gets drawn. Lots of energy. A Cleffa. More energy. And there was an item finder in there as well, one of the stronger cards in the format. Cleffa will join the bench. Get a grass attach. We will see Zubat swap out. It is a free retreater. You can free retreat as many times as you want in this format. And it looks like we're going to get an Eek for the attack. Ho-Oh now gets turns back. Now, this Ho-Oh is a pretty good attacker, but it also does not have enough energy to attack. Rainbow Burn takes 4 colorless energy to deal 30, and then it will deal 30 plus 10 more for each type of basic energy card, if any, attached to Ho-Oh. So that is why you can see in the hand a bunch of different energy types. Probably not worth retreating the Ho-Oh here and costing the DCE, so it looks like it was a pass, and now we will see Zubat evolve into Golbat. That is Skyridge Golbat, which has a strength and numbers attack that might look similar to Do the Wave from Wigglytuff. That triggers Chain Reaction to go and grab Umbreon and into a Fan Club, so it looks like we're going to grab 1 Zubat off of that. Fan Club allowing you to grab 1 or 2 out of your deck of basics or babies, and it will be 2 Zubats. If you're not familiar with strengths and numbers, it's not quite Do the Wave. It's the same cost at 3 colorless, but it starts with a base damage of 30 and it does 10 more for each Zubat, Golbat, and Crobat on the bench. So it has the same ceiling, the same damage cap. And plenty of energy, just gotta figure out where they want to put it. Do you start attacking with Golbat? Do you start going slower? Do you try to disrupt the hand with Umbreon? The main attraction of this Desert Moon deck is its ability to disrupt. Skyridge Crobat, when we see one, has an ability called Carry Off that pairs well with Umbreon's Dark Moon. Looks like we did get a Darkness Energy attached to the Umbreon. Fire Energy for turn, now attaching to Ho-Oh, so 1 attach away from being able to Rainbow Burn. And it looks like that was just a pass back, so now we're going to go back to Desert Moon, and there is the Crobat we were mentioning, so let's talk about Carry Off. It reads, once per turn before you attack, you may flip a coin. If heads, you look at the opponent's hand, and you can pick any baby, basic, or evolution card there, choose it, and the opponent shuffles it into their deck. So very disruptive. The opponent does not get to draw any cards after that like they do with Dark Moon off of Umbreon. And speaking of Umbreon, it got the DCE attached for turn, so it itself can attack now. It gets a damage boost from that Darkness Energy as well, dealing up to 40 now with Shadow Bind, and Shadow Bind also does not allow the opponent to retreat next turn. And it looks like it's a heads on the carry-off. But there are no valid targets. The removal, ooh, Now there could be some valid targets. Also a namesake of the deck, Desert Shaman coming in. So both sides shuffle their hands into the deck and draw a fresh 4. And you have a Cleffa up front and your opponent does not. You can always eke away that hand. Looks like there's a Fan Club, another Shaman, and looks like another Crobat was found, but no Golbat yet. And we will free retreat out the Cleffa to put Umbreon in. So we will now see Dark Moon, so as long as Umbreon is active and it has a Darkness energy attached, once during your turn before attacking, you can look at the opponent's hand, choose any number of cards up to or equal to the number of Darkness attached to Umbreon, and shuffle them into the opponent's deck, then they draw that many. So, off of this Dark Moon, Computer Search was thrown back into the deck, the opponent will shuffle and then draw 1. And now Shadowbind from Umbreon will deal 40 to that Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh has pretty good HP though, so 90 HP. It can't be knocked out quite yet. Of course, one more Darkness attached for turn would do that. And Ho-Oh has a chance to attack here as well. Energy removal on the DCE. Opting to preserve, or attempt to preserve, some HP on Ho-Oh instead of taking care of the disruption of Dark Moon. Ho-Oh gets the grass attached, so we will see Rainbow Burn for 50 most likely. And that was an Oak after benching 2 Cleffas, so Ho-Oh starting to stabilize. Another Slowpoke joins the bench. And Rainbow Burn 450, so Umbreon is down to 30 remaining HP. Not enough for a Slowpoke to clean up. Ho-Oh not at risk of being knocked out this turn either. Losing the Umbreon is not ideal, but it can retreat. Alright, and a Shaman. So, last I checked, Desert Moon runs 4 copies of Shaman, so if you aren't sure if you're going to get Shamaned, you probably are. So that nullifies the Oak. And then there'll be a coin flip most likely for carry off and a guaranteed look at the hand with Desert Moon. Or I'm sorry, not Desert Moon. What am I talking about? Dark Moon. There's a Computer Search. Throwing away a Shaman with that Comp Search. Is there an Oak to be found? Put a Gust in the bin as well. Shaman and Gust in the bin. This better be the Computer Searches to end all Computer Searches. Alright, Dark Mooning first before attempting carry off, and it's all energy. Going to throw away the fighting energy. Can make the argument there that throwing away nothing would have been perfectly fine. Rolling for carry off to see what that new drawn card was. It's a heads. And it was a lightning energy. All the colors of the rainbow for Rainbow Burn. Does find the DCE to get an attack off with Umbreon and attaches a Focus Band, so that'll be interesting. So Ho-Oh 10 away from being knocked out. Can take the knockout on this Umbreon. Focus Band though could stop that, and then the Ho-Oh would get knocked out, so We're getting to some critical coin flips, as often happens in this format. Alright, attempting Rainbow Burn for knockout. So, Focus Band gives a coin flip, and it is heads, so the Umbreon is going to survive with 10 remaining HP. Prize denied. Golbat top decked, no cards in the hand for Umbreon's side, but it gets a knockout on that Ho-Oh. That is a card drawn from the prize pool. First prize of the match. Now Ho-Oh's side needs to figure out how exactly they're going to navigate this. There's 2 Cleffa and 2 Slowpoke. One Slowpoke could come in and take the knockout, but then you know you're just going to get the opponent to come in with their Cleffa to eke their hand back up, build up one of these Crobats, and start attacking with that instead. One of the Slowpokes comes active, gets a second attach, and it will bite for the knockout. So Slowpoke does have another attack for 1 colorless called Fishing Tail, where you search your discard pile for a baby basic Revolution card or basic energy card, show it to the opponent and put it into your hand. It's not on a flip, so it does have some merit in this deck to go and get basic energy colors for Ho-Oh's power up. And that was a very quick Cleffa promoted into a carry-off attempt into an Eek. We are back to Ho-Oh's side, but there are no Ho-Ohs to be found on the bench or in the hand from what I can tell. I do see a Flaffy. So beyond Ho-Oh, the Energy Connect component of this deck is an E-Reader Ampharos with the Energy Connect ability that allows you to move any number of basic energy cards from the bench to your active as many times as you want in your turn, so it's a quick way to, if you don't have Ho-Oh initially, but you have a lot of energy on board, you can come out of nowhere and power up Ho-Oh very quickly with Energy Connect. Looks like there was no bite successfully against that Cleffa. I believe it is Crobat's turn. And there's a Fan Club for 1. Could it be an Eevee? It sure is. Is there a Golbat or a Crobat in hand to immediately trigger Chain Reaction? Lots of cards in hand, so taking our time to think here. Rainbow Energy to the Golbat. So, at the moment, Strength in Numbers is looking at 60 damage if there's a DCE available for that Golbat. Poison Sound Wave is also an attack on that Golbat where you flip a coin. Heads, the opponent is confused. Tails, they are poisoned. Back on Ho-Oh's side, Ho-Oh is found. Ho-Oh joins the bench. Ho-Oh gets a DCE attachment. And it looks like that was a bite attempt. That is, yet again, Tails, so the baby rule keeps this Cleffa safe once again. Eek resolving. And looking for a DCE, does not find one. Can't grab it with Item Finder. Could grab a Comp Search with the Item Finder, discarding a bunch of cards to find that DCE. It would take quite a bit of energy off the board, but instead it looks like we're going to evolve into Crobat, so not going for Strength in Numbers. And pulling out Umbreon with the Chain Reaction. Grass Attach for turn to the Crobat. I wouldn't have minded seeing an aggressive play for the DCE if there is one in the deck to go find. But for now, we're just going to play it slow and Eek. Oh no, just kidding. That's not an Eek roll. That was for 2 separate carry-offs. Both were Tails. Now it's an Eek. Don't have to roll for Eek against Slowpoke. So since it is 1 attach away from being used, let's talk about Double Cross on that Crobat for 1 Grass Energy and 2 colorless. you flip 2 coins, and then it will deal 40 times the number of heads. If both coins are tails, the defending Pokemon is confused and poisoned, so kind of a good result all around. Back on Ho-Oh's side, Ho-Oh gets a Psychic Connect, or a Psychic Attach. There is no Energy Connect yet. And once again, tails on the baby rule. No bite on the Cleffa. Now, the reason I would have liked Strength in Numbers last turn is explicitly because it's a guaranteed knockout on the Slowpoke. Crobat has a 1 in 3 chance to knock out the Slowpoke. Another Rainbow Attach for turn. Crobat has 90 HP, the one with all the attaches and now also a Focus Band. Has 70 HP remaining, as does the one with nothing else attached to it. And then there's just 2 Zubats hanging out. Umbreon's hanging out, no energy there either. Probably trying to figure out when is the time to get aggressive and start attacking. Carry off his tails again. How about the other one? Heads. So now we get a look at the hand. This will likely increase confidence about whether or not to start attacking. Wants to throw away the Flaffy, keeping Energy Connect at bay, although the Ho-Oh is 1 attach away anyway. Makes sense with multiple Cleffas down anyway. The Cleffa in the hand is just another Cleffa. Crobat is going to come in here. Let's see, what would be 40, 80, or double status. And the roll is double heads. It's a knockout. Hits the 1 in 3 to get the second prize of the match. That puts 2 energy in the bin as well. Cleffa comes active. And a Fan Club comes down. We'll see if Mareep joins the bench or not. You can see a Tyrogue at the bottom of the deck. Are there any other Ho-Ohs to go grab? Unclear. I did not see any. Let's see again. I don't believe there are more Ho-Oh in the deck. I think I saw 2 Ampharoses. Even Ampharos' attack cannot one-shot a Crobat. It deals 80 maximum. Although both Crobats are damaged, so in this context, yes it could. Mareep is grabbed. Hard to see with the glare there, but that is a Mareep. And Tyrogue joins the bench as well. That Mareep is from Neo Discovery, a 50 HP Mareep. And a 50 HP Mareep with an attack that can deal 30, so good for dealing with Cleffas. Cleffa retreats. We're bringing in Ho-Oh. Needs 1 more attach. There's a Water Energy in hand. Trading here could get very interesting. Crobat is a free retreater, though. It can always opt out of this matchup if it wants to. Water attach for turn. Rainbow Burn for 50. Remember, there's also a Focus Band on this Crobat, so it might only be 1 attack away from being knocked out. Dark Attach for turn to the Umbreon. Flipping for Carry Off. It's good. It can grab the Cleffa, might as well throw it away. It's free card advantage. And that leaves a Lightning Energy and an Energy Removal in the hand. That Energy Removal sitting around, definitely waiting to target something like a DCE or a Darkness Energy. Double Cross it is. And it is double tails, so the Ho-Oh is confused and poisoned, so this is going to get awkward quickly. Alright, Ho-Oh ticks on the poison damage between turns to 10. Ooh, double energy removal. Well, you probably don't want to retreat with the Ho-Oh, but hitting yourself in confusion would be pretty terrible. ER hits the darkness energy as we were talking about. Alright, rolling for the confusion hit. It's a tails! Ho-Oh hits itself in confusion, dealing 20 damage to itself. In between turns, the poison damage ticks up to 40 as well. So now, aside from double tails, Crobat has the opportunity to take the KO on Ho-Oh. Worth noting, Slowpoke could come in for a revenge knockout. Bite would deal just enough to trigger that focus band. Carry off number 2 here. Double tails on the carry-offs. Will it be double tails on the double cross? Let's see, can Ho-Oh find a way to survive? No, it cannot. That'll tick up to 80, 90 for the knockout between turns. Third prize of the match for Crobat. And Cleffa comes active. 2 lightning energy in the hand, so I might start powering up Mareep here. Worth noting that Tyrogue can be considered. There is no fighting resistance on the E-Reader Crobat or on the E-Reader Golbat. But the Zubat sure has it. That line typically had fighting resistance up until E-Reader. Slowpoke will come active, so that's the revenge knockout we were talking about. Focus Band already denied 1 prize, and it denies a 2nd prize, so huge flips for Focus Band. And that might be too much to come back from. Carry-off is good. Shows the hand, no targets for carry-off, no Pokemon in there. But knowledge is power. And now Crobat knows there's another energy removal in the hand. Flipping for double cross. Double heads again! That's a knockout. 80 to the Slowpoke. Hits the 1 and 3 for that knockout. At least energy removal can hit the other darkness energy here. And you do have the option to come in with Mareep and take the knockout on this Crobat, so not for nothing, but there's a huge hand now for Crobat. Likely enough resources to keep the pressure on. There's the Mareep. There's the attach. We're going to see a Thunder Jolt for 30. You have to flip a coin to see if Mareep takes 10 damage, and it does not, so Mareep putting in work. Prize taken for Ho-Oh's side. Alright, Crobat comes active. Worth noting that the other energy removal was held onto, possibly waiting for this DCE to drop, but now with this DCE dropping, it's not guaranteed that the Mareep will live. Also remember, Desert Moon is namesaked after Desert Shaman. If you're holding onto a card like energy removal, you might not be able to hold onto it for very long. There is a Desert Shaman in the hand, as well as a Gust. Flipping for carry-off. It's good. A Focus Band, interesting. That must have been what came off of the prize. Dear Lord, double cross for 80 again. That is the 3rd time this matchup. Double crosses hit 80 on something with 50 HP, I think. I think it was the 3rd time, at least the 2nd. Energy removal in hand. Gotta figure out if you want to take care of this Crobat or take care of the Umbreon. Crobat is an immediate threat that you don't have an answer to. Worth noting also on the Crobat with the Poison and Confusion line where you hit Double Tails on Double Cross, that would go through something like a Focus Band with the Poison, so ER and Focus Band are binned. Is this a comp search for an Oak? There's an Oak in the deck. Alright, there was another Focus Band all along, and now we see an Oak. See, the Ampharoses have been found, but now there is no Mareep, and I also don't think we've seen Flaffy in a while. Tough to find outs here. Crobat needs one more prize to seal this off. You just gotta start flipping and getting lucky with Tyrogue. Fan Club, let's get another look at this deck. Grabs the Tyrogue. Fan Club for one. Seeing that a lot. I feel like I say that every time. Smash Punch being attempted. It is a Tails. Tyrogue's only attack is a coin flip for 30. Not bad on a baby. Computer search. Alright, Cluffa will go to the bin off of this computer search along with plenty of cards, plenty of options. Along with a Gust. I guess Gusts are not as good when you're looking at 4 babies on the other side and you need one more prize, and you probably have another Gust in the deck. I believe it's a 4 Gust deck. And a breeder. Hilarious. Alright, so that breeder brings down a Crobat and allows Chain Reaction to trigger, pulling out Skyridge Flareon, a tech card that most EV lines can afford to splash, especially if there's Rainbow Energy running through the deck. That's primarily there for the Steel matchup. But I feel like a lot of Steel decks, I feel like first off this deck would probably grief Caesar pretty hard on setup. And we haven't seen a ton of Steelix in shop. So Steel hasn't been having a great time anyway. Teching Flareon I guess could be good for grass decks. But still, a cool bit of tech to play around with. Alright, now that everyone's been shamaned into oblivion, carry off number 1, carry off number 2. Both are Tails. Baby Rule to see if you can double cross. Hits through the Baby Rule. What will double cross bring? 1 heads, it'll deal 40, triggering Focus Band. What will Focus Band bring? It is a heads. Tyrogue lives with 10 HP. Of course, at 10 HP remaining, any of the double cross options will be enough for a knockout, assuming that Crobat can hit through the Baby Rule again. Small hands here. Shamaning yourself does help against Copycat, I suppose. Alright, a Fisherman. Very fun card. Supporter for turn, lets you pick up to 4 basic energies from your discard and put them in your hand. Great here for Ho-Oh because you can get a whole variety of basics to power it up for Rainbow Burn. Of course, there is no Ho-Oh that I'm aware of that's available to take advantage of that. I wouldn't have minded just going straight Lightning, looking at the Ampharos as an out. Only one prize needed to seal this game for Crobat. Item Finder. I'm not sure it's being discarded with the glare, but we'll see what trainer card gets put into the hand. And it's energy removal, okay. That hits DCE, so Crobat can't necessarily attack next turn. Of course there's a DCE in hand, though! Fresh Tyrogue is brought in, gets an attach for turn off that fire energy, and rolls for Smash Punch. It is a Tails. Brutal flips this game. There's the DCE, we're right back at it. Feels bad after your opponent just shamaned themselves. Carry off is good as well. That is going to be a problem. Flaffy gets sent packing. And will the Ampharos stick around? Yes, it will. The other carry-off is a Tails. And will this be it? Rolls through the baby rule. Crazy flips. And needs 1 heads. There it is. Double Cross gets the knockout on Tyrogue. The last prize was a Darkness Energy for Crobat. And that will do it. So, for more WotC-20, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching. We will catch you next time.
That